All challengers. Yeah, I feel bad for you, son. You look at the internals, 2 races back, 23, 247, and 1. In range of that, that's going to be good enough as she goes ahead and gets aggressive from the gate. I like your instructions for Sarah Del Fabro, Dan. I like that right to the front.
Horse to beat, however, is the 4 Be a Skybeam for J-Rod Elliott Sullivan. Just has a big speed figure advantage. Came off a lengthy layoff last time out. Caught a speed-friendly track. Was wired by an odds-on winner and still tried hard for second. If this horse runs back to his figs, it's going to be very tough.
Yeah, and you're looking at the bottom side. King Mambo, this horse has tried a route of ground prior. That was before Lasix. Seems ready to, should be ready to score here. That some of the stats don't lean my way. Shorter price. I'm going to try to upset Be a Skybeam in the opener. I think another one we're going to have to look at real quick is the 3. Blind Eye for Marici, Weston Hamilton. We have the video of the start of this race, and that's the key. It's just completely obliterated.
Oh, just knocked sideways completely at the start, and you don't recover from that. Blind Eye fell far, far behind after that, and basically gave an even performance afterwards. This horse really has a wet track pedigree. His sire, McLean's Music, scores at 19% on the wet track. And if you go back to Blind Eye's prior dirt race, you've got to go all the way back to 2023. And guess what? In an off-turf race, the horse just missed by a neck on a track that I thought was very speed-favoring at Delaware Park. 6-4-3-2 for Keith, 2-4-6-8 for me in the opener. Let's move on to race number 2. It's a 40,000 down to 32 claimer for 4-year-olds and up, which have never won 2 races. A field of 6 in here. It is the first leg of our 50-cent minimum wager pick 4. We've got early. We've got late pick 4s today. If you get knocked out of the pick 5, please play the pick 4. This is a pretty interesting race. Joe the Jet is your top selection in here, and we have a video spotlight for Joe the Jet.
Yeah, I thought this was a good return. Laid off from late March, comes back in February, a little bump around at the break, and he surprised me here against this group. I didn't quite see this kind of speed coming from him, and he showed it. Now, he showed it back breaking the maiden, but those fractions were not too demanding whatsoever. I love the fight that he shows down inside. He's just battling. I'm sorry, he's too wide here, battling the whole way. Just a slight fade through the final furlong. Encouraging effort, moving back out to a route of ground for Hugh McMahon.
Every reason to fade. I mean, it's his first race off an 11-month layoff. You see him getting bumped at the start. He's battling for the lead, and he ends up behind the 2 favorites. I thought this was an excellent race off the layoff. He has a very strong wet track pedigree. He's a 0.5-to-1 wet track winner, the Dam one on a wet track. And as you mentioned, he has been a pace presence going a mile in the past, and successful at the mile. We also see Hugh McMahon, past 3 years, Laurel Dirt Sprinter out.
Yeah, pretty good. 19%. ROI 353. A barn recently we talked about his ROI was the last 30 days right around that $5 mark. You got to like that. I think certainly the off track is going to be just fine. You're looking at Force to Pass. It's a very small sample. One of the horses might have 2 of the wins on the off track.
Right?
Yeah, so it's been good, like a 30% strike rate for this stallion. Again, there's not a lot of true speed in here. Maybe Mad Banker can force the issue. But I think if Joe the Jet can clear and relax, I think he can maybe repel a challenge turning for home and keep going.
I think J-Rod off the Jamie Ness claim is going to have Mad Banker at least close. Like Joe the Jet, this horse returned from a lengthy layoff last time out and ran pretty well. He was sort of tracking the pace in the pocket after a half mile, had to be urged along a little bit and then finished evenly. I think this horse probably needed the race. Now with Ness and J-Rod, I think he'll be close to the pace, if not outright on the lead, and he'll be in the thick of things when the field turns for home. Mad Banker, Joe the Jet, they're the speeds. The strongest closer in the race is the number 6, Dr. Kringle. And we do have a stat for Mike Giralis, and I believe this stat has even improved over the last few days. I think he's 4 for 13 now because he won with that horse off the long layoff, Wild Hunch, in the opener on Friday. So 4 for the last 13, that's 31%. The ROI goes up. Dr. Kringle is a horse that always seems to take a lot of money. He is only 1 for 21 lifetime, but it's worth noting the 1 win came on a wet track. He likes it.
Yeah, 4 for 4 in the money. You talked about that win. The 2-back try at Churchill, good enough, lacking room. And when he was really getting ready to ramp up and make that run into the stretch, still kept on willingly. A surface change here. A lot to like. Despite that record, I think against this group in a shorter field, Dr. Kringle, he's shown the ability to play a little bit closer. I don't think he wants to be too far back. I think you're going to have to see Villalobos 2-3 out of it, turning for home if he's really going to make a mark in race number 2.
1, 6, 4, and 3 for Keith. 4, 6, 3, 1 for me. Race number 2, kickoff leg, early 50-cent pick 4. Race number 3 is next. 7,500 down to 6,000 claimer for fillies and mares. We've got a strong field of 8 in here, and this is the first leg of our 20-cent Chesapeake pick 6 wager. Pick the first place finisher in each of the 6 races. You get the whole jackpot if you're the only winner. If not, you're still going to get something.
Yes.
This is a pretty fun race, 6 furlongs. These are hard-hitting fillies and mares. They've been around for a long time. You're going back to R. Avery Lynn.
I am 0 for 10 at Laurel, but 6 seconds, 2/3. Wet track record, 11 starts, 2 wins, 6 seconds, and a third. Had a turn of foot last time. She's shown speed in the past, but boy, she was really good. I know the internals don't look that sharp, but that track wasn't super fast, and outran some fast fillies and mares. Dead game to come back for second. I think J-Rod can go ahead, throw her into the pace early. She might be the survivor in here. There's not really a deep closer in this group.
Yeah, there really isn't a deep closer in this group. Mania had his choice of our Avery Lynn, and I believe the one-horse Tamchar, and landed on Tamchar, your second pick.
Yeah.
But our Avery Lynn's a horse. Sometimes she gets a little bit antsy behind the gate, and then last time out she got beat by odds-on True Sensation, as you mentioned. Let's talk a little bit about Tamchar. Beaten favorite last time out. Looked like was being confidently handled going 7/8, but I just don't think 7/8 is her trip. Getting back to 6, and she likes a wet track.
I thought she was going to be okay in there. You hit it right. She hit the head of the lane and was struggling a little bit, faded that last 1/8 of a mile. She's got to try to get pole. That's the thing. Can she work enough to get the pole and then make another move into it? Because you've got horses, like Hypnotizada that's got speed. Our Avery Lynn, far outside. I think Forgotten Gift's going to be running and gunning. Another one by Bandbox, who does like the off track. So can she get position, get a little bit of a breather to bring a finish? Off the 7/8 might move her up a little bit today.
I think I'm going to get a big price on the 3 Hypnotizada, 0.5 to 1 wet track winner. This horse, has been running on turf, has been running on synthetic against the boys on synthetic. 3 starts back, showed some speed and tired. She's fast, and at least I think I'm going to get a thrill with this horse for the first half mile. The last time she ran on a sloppy dirt track was Penn National back in August. Martina Rojas had the mount that day, only got beat a length and a quarter. I think she's a little bit better than she looks on paper, and I know the price will be right, but she might have to overcome a lot of pace pressure.
Okay. Yeah, I thought this was a really tough race. Loving Cup and At First Sight. I think if they pop on the board, especially At First Sight, this one's going off the claim for Mancy. It's been an okay move, but I think might have been a little too close for her liking against that group last time. I think she's better suited to sit a little bit further off and try to make that move along with Loving Cup.
At First Sight was in against Pino's Little Girl, who we'll talk about a little bit, came back to run very well out of that race. Race 3, 5, 1, 6, and 4 for Keith, 3, 6, 5, and 1 for me. Let's move on to race number 4. We're going a 1-turn mile. We're going to scratch the number 4 in the dance. It's a starter optional claimer. Starter 12,000. Optional claiming price 20,000. Splendor Beauty, the 9 to 5 morning line favorite. This is the first leg of our late value pick 5, which has carryover potential. Low takeout, 12% takeout, and our Mackenzie Pfeiffer has a ticket.
There you go, $36 ticket, too deep to get you started with Splendor Beauty and 3 captains. I think she's right on my 2 top selections in there. Race 5. Again, here we go. We're matching up. Bold Diversion, Nola Boss, 2-3 in race 5. Race 6. 1, 3, and 6 set ablaze on a surface change and a barn change going here for Robbie Bales, who's had an excellent run of late. Race 7, she's got the 1, the 8, and the 10. Scratch the 5, 6, and 7. Interesting call, another play out yesterday, out again today. That was the one thing about her, maybe the off track didn't suit her those couple races. So we're going to scratch 5, 6, and 7. She's going to end up with the 1, 8, and 10. A little price on the inside runner, Brittany Russell. You don't see that, but I think she'll hold value in race number 7. She'll complete her late value pick 5 with that 12% takeout in race 8 with the 4 anonymously and the 7 Pino's Little Girl. They look like the 2 to beat in race number 8, our nightcap. It's a $36 late value pick 5 for Mackenzie Pfeiffer.
And you're with Mac in the first leg. You like the 3 Splendor Beauty. We have a video spotlight of Splendor Beauty, a horse that last time out, Splendor Beauty just sort of broke outwards. And I think that might have hurt his chances a bit because he likes to show speed, and then he pulls really hard in the early stages, and he goes after his entry mate.
This particular day was able to go ahead and clear off and relax and go ahead and set the pace. But but you're right. Last time out, off a little awkwardly. It took restraint. I think they wanted to avoid a duel between Afraid of the Bunny and Splendor Beauty, and that's kind of what happened. So Splendor Beauty went ahead and was able to kind of press and then just fade slightly. This particular day, the other Nest runner, Amity Road, was used quite wide the first turn. Might help the chances, with a better trip today coming off of that race at Parks. But Splendor Beauty is able to kind of control things. I think that's going to be the tactics today for J-Rod. He does it so well. When he's up there nursing, he'll play a little cat and mouse. He likes to go for maybe that inside of the 3-path, a little float if needed. Splendor Beauty on the left lead there late, but holding sway, tries to control it this afternoon.
It's been an issue with this horse the last couple of races. Hasn't changed leads in his races, but again, he is the main speed in here. He really seems to like a wet track. You talked about 3 captains for Hammy Smith. His Celtic Contender ran very, very well in the George yesterday, went second to Quince Brew. We've got a stat for 3 captains. Sprint to dirt route, 3 for the last 11, 27% to 429 ROI, and this horse has won going sprint to route in the past.
We saw Hammy yesterday. Allowance back to the claiming. You're going to see it again here with 3 captains. The last time out, just chasing better horses. Flow should be a little bit more to his liking. Wins at 7/8 of a mile. Wins on an off track. The numbers fit. Yeah, I think this horse can ramp up and get into position by the time they turn to the head of the lane. It doesn't want to give up too much around the turn. Wants to be in range of Splendor Beauty to reel that one in. But your top selection is interesting. Tops the charts, a horse by McLean's Music. Likes the off track. They've changed kind of the running style of like the last few races of tops the charts. Will that work today, or do you expect them to try to move and be a little bit closer?
I would certainly like them to be a little bit closer because I don't see a ton of speed in this race, but I didn't think this horse had the greatest trip last time out. Off a beat slow, steadied and forced very wide on the first turn, then dropped inside to track in the pocket, and then sort of finished evenly over and behind horses. I think a cleaner trip is coming for tops the chart, and I would like to see him get a little bit close to the pace. Splendor Beauty, though, looks like the horse to catch and potentially the horse to beat. 3, 7, 5, and 1 for Keith. 5, 3, 7, 2 for me. We're 4 down. We got 4 to go. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with the late pick 4.
Baltimore! To the city of Baltimore, to all the fans watching around the world, riders up!
They're off in the Preakness.
All eyes of the world will be on Baltimore.
They're head and head. Seabiscuit leads by a length. Seabiscuit is the winner.
And it was a powerhouse race again by the big, strong Secretariat.
Sunday Silence takes the lead at the quarter pole.
American Barrow, phenomenal in the Preakness. And the filly did it! Rachel Alexandra! Smarty Jones, he wins the Preakness by a dozen lengths.
Sees the brave, wins the Preakness.
Welcome back to Today at the Races on a Sunday morning here at Laurel Park. The track's still sloppy. Race number 5, 6 furlongs, 40 down to 32. These are 3-year-old claimers. We take a look at the field for race number 5. It's a pretty strong group. The 4 Who Says So, the 7 Steel Vengeance is scratched. I thought Steel Vengeance was going to take some money in this race. It's the first leg of our late 50-cent pick 4 wager. And Keith, I think we're both looking at Nola Boss with a little bit of question. This horse looked so good scoring 2 starts back for the waiver, and last time out, it just didn't work out. We have a video spotlight for Nola Boss.
Yeah, a little bump up, I thought, off of that really good score with the 63 buyer, and you're kind of breaking down the variance and everything. Solid time, 11 and 2. But this particular day, you look at the trip, and I'm going to read a little bit from William Humphrey. So if you don't pay attention, you should be paying attention, I should say, to our website now with the trip notes. You got a broke okay, a little not rushed, a little touch rank in behind horses early on. And I think that just kind of got Nola Boss off of his game, flopped to an incorrect lead around 3. I just think something was not right with Nola Boss this particular day. Protected late through the stretch by Sheldon. I like the fact, not a precipitous drop. We're going to kind of hold here at 40. It works for me. I think you're going to see, with a better break, more positional speed, be up with the flow. I just think he turned him off his game that day, and he's bred to be just fine on and off track.
And he was in against a good field as well last time out. That runner-up Slam Motion's a nice
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Will be a heavy favorite. He was in this race. Came back to run second, just missing with a 76 buyer. So the drop works, and I won't be surprised if Nola Boss shows a little bit more speed in this race. Bold Diversion's sort of a question mark for me as well. Forced off the Rudy Sanchez Solomon claim because this horse won for only 12.5 last time out, but did it so easily. Thought was bumped both sides at the start, wound up in between horses, and once it was time to go, split horses 3 wide and went on his way to beat 2 next out winners. The Dam won on a wet track. He's a half to a wet track winner. We'll learn a lot more about his overall quality here.
I think the Protect move is fine, and I don't know if it's a huge jump. I mean, overall, I guess, over that 12.5 competition, but just a race further back. Keep 4-5 by Artillery Gunner. There's a horse that came back to win and beat an okay field. He's an all right horse. Second time Lasix. Forrest comes back aboard, wanted to get back and ride Bold Diversion. Blofeld off track. I think this one's going to be okay. I like the spot right back. Worth the Protect move.
I got Schrader in here as my second choice. We have a video spotlight on Schrader going out for Hugh McMahon. He'll get Lasix for the first time today.
Yeah, this is a guy, again, early on in his career, he was showing the ability, and I thought he was going to move up from it. He just hasn't. But again, here's another Protect move. It was a recent scratch. Lasix going on. Wide every step of the way, but just kind of grinds it out. I think he's got sneaky speed if you want to get it from him, too. So maybe Weston's going to be instructed with Top Blood, a horse that doesn't have a whole lot of speed, set for life just to the inside. Let's be a little bit more aggressive, get his attention, get him involved, and he might just battle from the quarter pole home.
And Hugh going until this week, between January 18th, February 8th, 6 for 28, a 527 ROI. You're right, this horse made 2 moves last time. I tried to show speed, but they ran 22 and change for the opening quarter. Out-sprinted. You saw him come on late. That race produced 2 next out winners. The winner of the race, Bangkok Bob's a nice horse, came back to run second for 32 with a 67 buyer. Schrader's Dam was 2 for 2 on a wet track. The second Dam won on a wet track as well. Let's talk a little bit about Set for Life and Little Bit Risky. Let's start with Little Bit Risky.
All right, Little Bit Risky just kind of lost all chance last time out. Hesitated to break. You see that shorter comment, caught 4 wide with a move into that flow to fade. Another one that's moving up off the claim this time for Kieran McGee, who, as we know, year in and year out, very good off the claim. Has back numbers to work. Off track, yes, should be fine. Great Notion, Roman Ruler on the bottom. A cleaner break, and you just might see Torrealba go from the inside. I could see that happening.
Set for Life also cutting back in distance after being wired in a slow-paced race against Better. Just think this horse fits very well against these. Let's talk about Top Blood.
Yeah, Top Blood. This is a horse that Dave Rodman is on. He likes Top Blood, and it was a very eventful opening, 3/8 of a mile going long. That mile and a 16th try last time. Short comment, bumped, ranked, checked off and behind rivals, and just that was it. Took too much of the run out, packed it in. Turning back in distance, has an okay try at 7. A good, solid, sweeping move 2 races back. If things heat up, Top Blood avoid any early trouble. Just relaxes a bit. We were wondering if this horse was going to be gelded, but we see back still a colt. Could really ramp it up.
Good sign this horse is back on short notice. It looks so good in his race 2 starts back
really
that
good.
there is some ability here to be sure. 3-2-6-8 for Keith, 2-8-1-5 for me in race number 5. We'll move on to race number 6, 3/4 of a mile. Maiden Claimers, 20 down to 16. Maryland Breds can run for the $25,000 claiming option. It's the $1 jackpot super high 5 wager. Lift the lids, 7-5 on the morning line. Brittany Russell, Javion Toledo, beaten favorite last time out at Penn National. You could argue she was against better horses that day.
Yeah, and that was not the easiest trip. 2 tough trips for this one. The debut try, Ms. Notion, and a next out winner, but also a little steady at Penn National. Did make that wider move, 4 to 5 wide, top of the lane, but horse rider, they weren't super energetic the last 3/16. They were tired, I think, from the earlier efforts and just fizzled through the last 8th. Lift the Lid needs to break better, avoid that early steady, and against this group on the drop, we know what Brittany does. Maiden special weight, the maiden claiming when she attacks, they usually win. But we're going to go elsewhere. We're going to go for a little bit better price. You got 7-5 on Lift the Lid morning line. I like the 6-1 offered here for Set Ablaze.
Set Ablaze, interesting spot in the debut, trying turf, going 5.5 at Colonial, and I thought showed a little bit of speed that day before getting tired at the end of that race. This horse is bred for dirt by Holy Boss. The dam won 8 races on the dirt. The second dam won the dirt. This is the family of Grade 1 Dirt Stakes winner Zoftig. The dam won on a wet track. I trust Robbie Bales with these sort of horses. I think Set Ablaze is going to run better on dirt today. We'll see if he could beat the drop down.
Robbie's on a good little run right now. Another hope with speed. Sabra Song is another horse we're going to talk about. Let's go to the video of the 9 Sabra Song for John Salzman Jr. The winner yesterday, right?
Absolutely.
And right here, this was it. It was just too tough. Lost the footing, a stumble there in behind, sandwiched at the break. A filly that you thought was going to be able to possibly go right to the front or contest the early pace gets used to get about 3, 4, 5 wide, kind of dragging the riders. Not really used. Just she was eager, ramped up. 4 wide, 2 contention, and then it was all she wrote. Probably by the time they hit the top of the stretch, is going to go ahead and fade. Protected late. Coming back, second time Lasix, second time blinkers. This outer draw could prove really nice and beneficial for Sabra Song.
If this horse breaks, this horse is going to the front. We see Salzman past 3 years on the dirt, 3-year-old second time Lasix, 29% ROI, $2.76 ROI. Again, in against Chrissy N last time out, came back to run a good third in a first level allowance with a 69 buyer. Sabra Song has a big excuse, as we saw in the last race, an excuse to back against the boys, against Slam Notion. And I thought the debut race was fine because this horse showed good speed, a little bit late to change leads in the stretch, but Sabra Song's going to show good early foot in here. Lift the Lid might be the horse to beat on the drop down. Sabra Song might be the horse to catch. We're looking at a little bit of an interesting pedigree play with Set Ablaze. You're going 6-9, 1-7. I'm going 6-8, 2-1. I got Rylands looking lucky in here. Lasix on, blinkers off. They ran 1-2 around last time out. This horse got a little bit of a break. I think that Rylands looking lucky at a big price with the Lasix on can do a little better.
And I'm going to toss in Arise My Love, the 7 horse for Milan Milosevic, Warning Drums Racing. I think they had a winner recently. You've got Forest Boys here. This is just a barn that's been sneaky good with the maidens, the firsters of late. You're looking at the debut maiden, claim at 29% strike rate with a big ROI. This one as well. Bourbon Courage, topside, 13% wet track. Mare was second in debut. We're going way, way back. I saw that. I think it was a Calder with a 77. But just the way this barn has been going over the last 6 months, 9 months with the first-time starters piques my interest a little bit at a number because things could get heated up front, and Forrest is going to be patient and just try to finish up with Arise My Love.
And there's some pedigree here. The dam, a stakes-winning turf miler. The second dam, a multiple stakes-winning dirt sprinter. Nice versatility and class in this pedigree. 6-9-1-7 for Keith, 6-8-2-1 for me. In the 6th, let's move on to the 7th. It's our feature. We're going a mile and a 16th. Second level allowance with a $40,000 claiming option. Fillies and mares 4 and up. Take out the 5, take out the 6, take out the 7. They are big scratches. Michael Sanchez aboard the 9 Majestic Creed. Andres Chavez aboard the 10 Lovely Charm. And Lovely Charm does have good early speed.
Horse just who are inside, the 5-year-old mare Majestic Creed might have something to say and go ahead and go. But Lovely Charm, you've got the benefit of 3 scratches in here. Not a slew of speed to the inside except for the 9. I think she can go ahead and shadow if need be. Her last race I thought was pretty good, being able to prompt that pace to win going away by 6 and change. I gave it the eager comment. I always pay attention to those horses coming back. It's kind of a key word, eager, sharp. You see those in the short comments. These horses usually come back and run well by Irish War Cry. Top-sided at about 17% on the wet going. So I think when they turn for home, the road's going to go through Lovely Charm. But I like your top horse, Marvelous, is a horse that we struck gold on a couple races back on the same kind of angle Lasix back on.
That really could be the key for Marvelous. And Marvelous in that race wasn't as far back as usual. She was traveling so well that day. She looked so good. You could understand why they stepped her up into a stakes race once again. And with the Lasix off in the stakes race, she didn't run as well. The pace wasn't very fast, and she just didn't kick on. If she can run back to that race that we saw when she won, boy, I think she really fits with these horses, but I am always afraid that she could get outrun a little bit in the early portion of this race. Stop the Cap is where you're going, and we have a video spotlight for Stop the Cap.
Yeah, I think I'm going to key around, Dan. I think I'm going to key around the 4 and the 8 top and bottom of this race. But let's go to the video for Stop the Cap. A couple races back, did beat Lovely Charm. That was at the 1-turn mile on a muddy sealed surface. We're going to go to the most recent race at 7H, and you're going to see Stop the Cap just kind of stalled. Waiting, and just needs that room here, top of the lane. It's going to work out a trip, top of the stretch. I think finishes up quite well, just falls just short to the long shot, right? This was Dye's surprise. But, you know, a little late here to switch leads as well, right? Just making that grinding run is Stop the Cap. I think she can handle the 2 turns.
Oh, I don't think the 2 turns is going to be a problem for her. You still see she's on her left lead, and you wonder if she changes, does she win? That could be key, and she has changed leads in the past, so I'm not really too worried about that, especially over a wet track. She's 2 for 3 on wet, and I like that she has the tactical speed. And stretching out, she should show it in here. She should be in a very good position. 8, 4, 10, and 2 for Keith, 4, 3, 9, and 8 for me in race number 7.
You got a real price here. We're not going to let you go, right? Regal the 3?
Regal the 3, I think, has got some back races.
Yeah, you got a nice number here. This could be a huge exacta 4-3.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Regal then real quick. I thought Regal last time out in the carousel was completely overmatched against Sea Dancer. We saw what Sea Dancer could do. 2 starts back in that second level allowance against Marvelous. Didn't really fire the best shot, but I like the blinkers on move here for this horse. This horse just doesn't have any speed. Needs to be sharpened up. We saw Sammy Davis win a race earlier this week, so this barn is moving in the right direction. I think Regaled with the blinkers on is just going to give a better try. But again, pace makes the race, and if he doesn't get it, she could be in trouble. Yeah,
Rodman woke me up to the 2 Western Lane. I kind of glazed over that one off of the return try, you know, beating a couple lengths by Stop the Cap. But you see the short comment, mildly worked an inside-out trip. Now, you're looking at off-track. How about 3 starts, 2 wins, a second and a third? Buyer figures that are close, pretty much good enough, can handle the stretch out here to 2 turns. So an interesting move here. Another one at a bigger number. Unfortunately, it's going to come down with the scratches, but good wake up here for Rodman, for me at least, because Western Lane, I will be using this one in the mix.
8, 4, 10, 2 for Keith, 4, 3, 9, 8 for me. We'll see how this pace shapes up in race number 7. We'll close things out with race number 8. We're going 5.5 furlongs, and we'll take out the 1. Always Laughing. We'll take out the 5, Destined to Dance. It's a 5.5 furlong race, 12,000 starter, 20,000 optional claimer for fillies and mares 4 and up. You got to figure anonymously is just going to take a lot of money in here. She's won her last 3. She was claimed by Kieran McGee. We have a Kieran stat for anonymously. First off the claim recently, 4 for the last 12, $2.77 ROI, and this horse has just been very comfortable. She's got a lot of back class, and she handles a wet track. She was listed as a vet scratch on January 25th.
Yeah, that was the thing that concerned me the most, and interesting that they ran her back for a tag off of that claim from November 15th to late December, but she dominated there, got a good little setup with the duel going on, and it probably was her best visual performance, performance visually on and off track. She comes back to that kind of surface this afternoon, but will she get that setup again? She naturally can lay close enough as well. She's a 14-time winner. You got to love that. But I go outside with the 7. Pino's a Little Girl. We've got a video spotlight of this one with Tyus Liapastina second off the claim. This is really good. Recovered after the stumbling.
Yeah, just kind of stumbled a bit at the start, didn't get away clean at all, and now has to work very hard to get into the race. Watch again, the number 8 just breaks slow in here, and that's not Pino's Little Girl's game. 2 starts back, she went right to the front, and now Tyus is trying to figure out how are we going to figure this out, and unfortunately, this horse is pulling a little bit and now rushing up while losing ground. All in all, Pino's Little Girl runs a big race to finish second. After the troubled start, after rushing up into the teeth of the pace, she's still fighting it out all the way down to the wire.
Opening quarter, 22-3. So what did she run to get in?
21-3.
Yeah, what did she run to get involved there? And she battles 3 deep. Still going very, very nicely outside of 2 rivals. A little hiccup there, a little drift in, but she's straightened by Liapastina. And again, off track, certainly going to help. I think she could be in for a top figure here today for Rudy Sanchez Salomon's second off the claim. Cleaner break, and I think she gets the jump on these.
And this outside post, I think, today is going to help her if she breaks well because it gives options. Photo finish should show a little bit of speed for J. Ness and J. Rod. This horse was chasing a very fast pace last time out in the Pinot's Little Girl race, but Pinot's Little Girl just ran better than she did, I thought, so I couldn't really go there. Principia is very interesting, though, for Ness and Michael Sanchez. We do have a Jamie Ness stat for Principia. Winner last out, first start off a 2 to 4 month layoff, 7 for the last 15, 47%, a 287 ROI. So usually you see a horse win and then they go on layoffs. You worry. What happened? Well, if they're sharp, you don't take them away from what they're doing. It works very well for Jamie. This horse scored at Parks last time out. I did not love the field she beat.
Okay, I agree with you there. I just think this is going to be the 7's race to lose. If she breaks cleanly, let's get right on the engine and let's control it up front.
7, 4, 2, and 6 for Keith. 4, 6, 7, and 2 for me in race number 8. Value play time. Keith, what's the value? You gave a value yesterday in the last race. That was a beautifully done pick.
And hopefully this is done the same way, right to the front. We're going to stay here with race 8 with the 7 Pinot's Little Girl. Avoid the stumble at the break. Outer post is good. She can measure any inside speed. I think she can separate around the turn from this group. She's got the heart, stamina to hold sway here, and I think she's going to move up on an off track.
After the scratches, I'm not sure how much value I'm going to get with my value play, but I'm going to stick with Marvelous, a horse that I really believed in after that race 2 starts back, I believe it was, where she won very, very easily. Lasix back on here, I think, is going to help. Would like to see her just a little bit closer to the pace. That's it for the Sunday edition of Today at the Races. Callie Francois, Mackenzie Pfeiffer, Dave Rodman will take you through the afternoon. And speaking of the great Dave Rodman, let's go up to him for scratches and changes.
All right, good luck.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Laurel Park, where the track condition is sloppy. Temperature in the upper 40s now. Winds out of the southeast at about 10 miles per hour. 17 minutes to post time. We have 8 races on the program today, followed by simulcast action from Moronis. Here's a look at your Laurel Park changes. In the first race, scratch 1, Lucky Prince. 1 Lucky Prince scratched. Number 8, Airspeed. Jockey changed to Johan Rosado. Johan Rosado on the 8, Airspeed. Number 9, Reserve Judgment. Please note the change of equipment today is blinkers off. Error in the program. It should be blinkers off. 9, Reserve Judgment. Second race, no changes. Third race, no changes. Fourth race, scratch number 4 in the dance. 4 in the dance. Out of race 4. Fifth race, scratch 4. Who says so? Scratch 7, Steel Vengeance. 4 and 7 out of the 5th. Sixth race. 7 Rise My Love, owned by Warning Drums Racing LLC and Sky Racing. Owner correction. Seventh race. Scratch 5, Call Another Play. Scratch 6, Too Many Kisses. Scratch 7, Don't Tell Kelly. Number 9, Majestic Creed, jockey Michael Sanchez. Michael Sanchez. Number 9, Majestic Creed. Number 10, Lovely Charm. Correcting your program to the jockey Andres Chavez. Program correction. Andres Chavez was named to ride weight 121 with a 5-pound apprentice allowance. 10, Lovely Charm. Eighth race, scratch 1, Always Laughing. Scratch 5, Destined to Dance. 15 minutes to post time. Track sloppy. Good luck today at Laurel Park.
Welcome to a Sloppy Sunday here at the Maryland Jockey Club at Laurel Park. We have a fun brain itching card that we've got coming ahead of us here, and we're going to get things kicked off with this first leg of that early value pick 5. Of course, that low industry takeout 12%. That's huge, guys, here, a 50-cent minimum. Let's go ahead and take a look at Keith's $32 ticket. 4 and 6 he goes here. The 6 Longworth being his top selection. Race number 2, 1 in the 6. The number 1 Joe the Jet. He's got all the info that we'll cover later in race number 2. 4 deep in race number 3. He does go with the number 5 in that race, R. Avery Lynn, and in race number 4, 2 deep as well with the 3 and the 7. The 3 Splendor Beauty, 9-5 morning line favorite, and race number 5 with the 2 and the 3. He goes with the 3 Nola Boss for a $32 ticket. Starts in this maiden claiming 12.5, going a mile on the dirt for the 4 to 6-year-old. Scratching the 1. We're going to go ahead and discuss the number 4 here right now. Be a Skybeam, morning line, and 6 at 9-5 right now.
Right. You know, we've seen some really good efforts from this one, especially at this level. I think 9-5 always just as hard to bite off at this level, but this one completely figures and makes perfect sense. I thought last time out in that end of January effort that might be a jumping off point, because this is one who's shown a good turn of foot when closing. The family is convincing routing. So for me, getting to this distance really just all seals the deal for me. I thought had a nice trip, maybe took a little bit of time to settle into the surface on that day, but ran on really nicely through the stretch after a tracking trip, and I think it's going to go ahead and step up here.
Yeah, big update, a big improvement from the last time versus the first time since the last time we saw him on a wet track. And yes, main special weight at Gulfstream Park down to the 12.5. That certainly helps as well. You have to just kind of crook your ears a little bit at the fact that they entered this horse going a route of ground early on. They thought that this horse was meant to go that distance. Now that this horse has a solid foundation and understands the game plan of what to do, they're well within their rights to go ahead and put this horse at a longer distance here today. As we go ahead to from the 4 to the number 3 here, 2-1 right now on Blind Eye for Diane Marici, Wes Hamilton here at 2-1. We are going to take a look at that effort. Last time out did not get the best of starts at all.
No, and I mean, very honestly, just knocked sideways as we see here, just sort of boomerangs between the bunch and is settled way towards the back of the pack. This is a horse who we've seen a little bit more forwardly placed and has run some better races with that style. So I think this just took everything out of him for the day, but I don't necessarily mind it. I think this is one who's going to transfer back to the dirt quite well, is out of a dirt mare, so I'm not terribly concerned about the surface at all. We have seen them try this one on the dirt early on in the career in that third start. Not necessarily in maybe the best spot for this one to take a big step forward, but I think it's all right there, and so this one definitely deserves that 2-1.
We've seen this horse close pretty decently on the turf, so I'm just kind of waiting in the wings to see if it's going to happen on the dirt, since we didn't really get a chance to see it at all last time out. I mean, because you can say, oh, well, the horse came from off the pace still. Well, that was pretty rough, what we just saw in that break, so that's plenty of excuse coming into today. I think that getting on the mud is going to help this guy just due to the turf and the fact that McLean's Music is 19% on a wet dirt here today at 2-1. Going ahead to the number 6 to the outside is going to be Longworth. For Katie Voss, Javian Toledo gets the call here. Sticks with that muddy surface. We go from a good track to a sloppy track with this one.
Right, and we have seen this one over a muddy track back in May. I don't really have anything to knock this one on. It was up against a pretty good group on that particular day and held his own. This is one who I am surprised we're getting the 9-1. I maybe leaned a little bit more towards the 3, thinking that would have a bit more value. So I think this is one who I'm curious whether or not we've had a genuine start just because of that troubled trip last time out. And maybe I'd like to see him once more, but 9-1, I'm glad you jumped right on.
We're also getting him second off of the layoff, and I think that's something that the crowd is a bit focused on, and that's kind of something I saw that the crowd might be a bit focused on, but you said it, back on that muddy surface, just taking a completely different way of going about it. I think that's what they're going to try and get accomplished here, because again, this one didn't have the cleanest of breaks last time out, and that was at 6 furlongs as well. We get a lot of help here in a lot of different ways here at 9-1. Going ahead to the number 5 to the inside, or to the 2 to the inside is going to be I Feel Bad for You, Son, for Benny Feliciano Jr., Sarah Del Fabro with the weight off. I have a feeling you know exactly what they're going to be doing at 6-1.
Right. I feel like this is one who they can just go ahead and try to kick on. I don't think there is a really clear pace in here, but there might be some who are tempted to try it. This is one who I wouldn't be surprised to see involved or in that first flight. Has handled the mud okay before, 2 back at the end of November, so I can't knock this one. I just really use this one underneath because I'm not quite sold on the trip setting up for him perfectly.
I have a feeling that this one just kind of needed one more, just needed to try a start on the off going, and I'm just going in off of a hunch. I don't have a lot of information, just call it my, intuition. 5-1 right now. I just think the second time on a mud, I think it really might be beneficial for this one because we know what kind of trip this one likes. This one is only going to offer so much turn of foot. I think the objective is very clear here with the weight off on the inside. Let's go ahead to the number 5 in Uncle Gray, Tim Vick, Carlos Lopez here at 11-1.
Right. So Carlos being on this one comes from a family who some of them have been sort of need the lead types. I think this one is interesting. Today will be very telling, and I just want to go ahead and see what he does here because we mentioned, there isn't a clear need the lead type in this group. This is one who I think sneakily could be it, and coming down to this level at the mile from these sprinting efforts, he might have a chance to be comfortable on the front end, and we might see something different from him. So I wouldn't be surprised. Comes from a second dam who was a turf router, half siblings have taken more to sprinting, but I think he's kind of interesting to see it maybe a change here.
We'll see if he can handle that change. They're at 11-1. Money is on the number 4 right now, just to the inside, and via Skybeam. Jamie Rodriguez may be hoping to open up the day with a win here in the first, in that low industry 12% here for this early value pick 5.
Horses stepping out for the first race. 1 mile, second wire finish. Scratch 1, Lucky Prince. Johan Rosado on the 8 air speed. Note number 9, Reserve Judgment. Change of equipment is blinkers off. Error in the program. It's blinkers off. 9, Reserve Judgment. Track edition sloppy. 5 minutes to the opener. That starts at 12% value pick 5. Early value pick 5 play. 12% takeout. Mandatory payout of the early pick 5. Best turned out award goes to Brian Brooks. I feel bad for you, son. Best turned out runner. Five minutes to the value pick 5 play, 12% takeout. Four minutes. Three minutes, value pick 5. Mandatory payout of the early pick 5. Three minutes to play the pick 5. Now 2 minutes. The horses approaching the gate.